thinks he's an artist, or maybe he has used it too much. A person who's a speaker or a writer and all that, who has used his creative power too much on the right hand side, gives you this feeling. The one who has used the left side psyche, like people who have been tampered with their psyche. See, a psychologist, a person who is a psychologist, who is studying psychology. I mean, psychology cannot be studied by people who are not realized souls. They should not. They do not know how they are harmed by tampering with other psyche. They do not know how to protect themselves. For a doctor may tie up something to save himself from infections, but a psychologist does not know how he is harmed. Even if you live with a mad person, or if you go to a lunatic asylum, you catch from that. That's how your left side gets caught up, and you find that left side starts working in such a manner that you develop all left side problems. Left side problems are depression, epilepsy, leading to all kinds of modern pressures, as they call it, guilt and diffidence, suicide, could be lunacy. All those things come from your left side. And last of all, cancer. Cancer is caused by the left side problem and not by the right side problem. Actually, as a reaction of the right side, if you are too active all the time, you are thinking, because this center does another very important one. It changes, transforms your fat into the cells for the use of your brain, which is using it for thinking. So it goes into tremendous action when you start planning. I mean, here I have seen people plan too much, till they say all set. See, you start from the home, they start planning. There is no need to plan. I don't understand what is the need to plan to that extent. I mean, you are going on the road. There's no need to plan at all. You have to work it out at the present moment. For example, supposing I have to book a ticket, then that is done to be done today. Then what is the planning? That on the 8th I will book. What is the need to say that beforehand? I mean, when it will come to 8th, you book it. But they go on like this, and ultimately all plans fail. Everything fails. You go to a place, for example, you don't know. If you say, all right, we'll go to the right, but maybe there is no road on the right, so are you going to fall into the ditch because you have planned it beforehand that I will go to the right? You must leave it open. And the same about Kundalini, because when the Kundalini rises, it's like a car that has started, it moves, it moves, it moves. Supposing it has stopped here, and somebody gives you a mantra for this one. You will spoil this one as well as this is already spoiled. So you will have a double problem, because you are saying mantra with this one. Of course, any mantra you say, you spoil this in any case. Apart from that, you have no connection, nothing, you are not yet realized soul, and you are taking somebody's name like that. For example, Rama's mantra is Rama is here. Many people say Rama's mantra and they have a problem with this. They can get asthma physically. Oh, I'm saying Rama's mantra, but I've got asthma. What else? I mean, you must get it. If you have asthma, I'll ask you, did you say Rama's mantra in India? Absolutely goes hand in hand, because Rama is stationed here. All right? Now, if you have to take his name, there should be some protocol. What is your authority? Why are you taking Rama's name? Supposing I start taking the name of your president in his house, go there and start shouting, oh, president, president, whatever his name is, I start shouting his name. I'll be arrested or not? Or maybe at that time when you are shouting Rama's name, maybe some servant with the name of Rama who has died will think that there's a call for me, may come and enter into your being. Mostly it happens, because you have no connection with Rama himself. With Sri Rama you have no connection. So some Rama who is working in your house and has died, or someone with that thing, or maybe around somewhere in the atmosphere, these busy bodies, anybody can enter into you and you can get possessed and you can get this asthma. This right side problem is very common with people who are suffering from this trouble. And this trouble comes to you because you try to be very individualistic. Like if you are married, you don't want to create good relationship Can you ask him to go down? He's distracting everyone. All right? Can you ask him to come to the tomorrow, day after tomorrow, to our place where I will treat him? All right? We can sit there also. All right? I'll cure him tomorrow or after the program. I'll try. It's moving. The thing is moving in him, you see, from places to places, and one has to take to it. There are so many here. I've seen so many, such strange people I've met on the street, such strange people. There are so many, I mean, I don't know what is the percentage of lunatics in this country, but schizophrenic and all sorts of people, I mean, you can't say, I mean, just see, every third person I came across has some sort of a funny thing going on in his head. I said, now what is it? This is the country which is invaded the most by these negative forces. And if you are going to be destroyed, you are going to be destroyed from inside, not from outside. You will not be destroyed from outside. Take it from me. You will be destroyed from inside. And that you can see what's happening. All kinds of destructive forces are working it out. And the worst of all, these horrible gurus who have come from India. You people had invasion on India. English had their political invasion. You had your monetary invasion on India. So all these horrible people are having a mental invasion on you. You are not aware of it. It's a mental invasion, very subtle mental invasion which you cannot discern. You are enslaved, as we were enslaved by you for money. You see, for wheat, if they send horrible wheat to India, Americans used to say, oh, we have been very gracious. The wheat was so horrible that we could not eat. We threw it on the grounds. Imagine, we threw it on the grounds, and horrible types of what you call acacia plants grew. We cannot destroy them. And then another type of grass which we called as Congress grass, you see, because it came from America, we called it Congress grass, grew all over and it covered all our crops and everything. And we didn't know why were you so kind to us to send all these things. Somehow it was destroyed then, this grass, but still this horrible acacia is covering all the villages in India. People are having a terrible time, they are poisonous, and if they hit you, you see, you are killed. And children play around. It's a very dangerous thing. I mean, if they wanted to send wheat, there should have been something more courageous than what they have been doing. This is how you have been very, very unpopular all over the world. Whenever you try to help anyone, you think, oh, you are doing too much. While India has helped you so many ways. First of all, it has helped you when you had wars. We sent Indian troops and all that all over. We never tried to show anything like that. You see, it is surprising how these developed nations are so ego-oriented, I mean, so many things they have done that I cannot understand how human beings are not afraid of God and His wrath that can come on us. We have oppressed all the people who are already oppressed. We have tried to really clutch them down. Now, it is for time for you people who are born in this country, who are special people born. You are very, very special. In America, we are the maximum number of saints. You would not know. It is for you to rise above all these nonsensical things and get over it and join your hands in solving the problems of these worldly things which has really oppressed the whole universe. And I really depended very much on you people. I came 9 years back, but I found that the aggression is still bubbling in. They cannot see things, and that's how these gurus take advantage of it. They took advantage of it. They came here, all right, you have got money, pamper your ego, you can purchase us. They pampered your ego, you thought you can pay for them, you paid for them. And what did you get out of it? Is nothing but all these horrible things out of which it is very difficult to get out. Apart from that, many might have lost the chances of self-realization. You are absolutely special people to be born. You have taken birth in this country with a very, very special purpose. Because I told you that you are born in this place. This is America. What a place it is. I mean, you had great people like Abraham Lincoln. Great people like him. What a man he was you had. You have forgotten completely his ideals and things. I mean, what a man Abraham Lincoln. I mean, if I read about anyone in the beginning was Abraham Lincoln. I said, look at him. He was a realized soul. His ideas and all that are gone off. Now, it is for you to establish, for what you have stood, for what God has created this America, this chakra of Vishuddhi. And this is what is starting from here that you rise up to there. The connection is that this seeking goes in developing, and there are 10 principles which are described as the 10 commandments, you can say, or we have got 10 sutras. In Sanskrit language they are called as 10 sutras. Gandhiji put one more by saying that we should use only Indian things, not foreign things, because then they will dominate us. So he put Ekadasha, he put one more, but there are 10 which are here, which are described as 10 commandments in the Bible. And these are the 10 primordial masters who were born on this earth. Say we can start from Socrates, then we can think of other, in India was Dattatreya, Dattatreya is the essence, and he is born as Socrates, he is born as Lao Tse, he is born as Abraham, as Moses, he is born as, up till now we can say, Muhammad Sahib, Nanaka, latest is the Sainath of Shirdi. He is the one who represents, they all represent this primordial master's principle of religion. Religion means the one that sustains us. These 10 are our sustainers. These we can say our valencies, is our quality. Like this gold has a quality that is, it is untarnishable. In the same way, human beings have these 10 qualities in them. For a dog doesn't know what is truth and what is untruth. Dog doesn't know what is violence and non-violence. It's the human beings who knows these 10 things. And these are the qualities, 10 qualities, which are sustained by the primordial master, who is the Dattatreya, who has incarnated on this earth basically 10 times. But there are so many Upagurus, as they call, the subsequent gurus also, who are realized souls. Now, at the time of Christ, John the Baptist, I mean, he was a real Baptist, he was not an untrue Baptist, he was a realized soul. Nowadays everybody is a Baptist without being the real Baptist. You have to be the real Baptist. When you are a realized soul, only then you are a real Baptist, not before that. And this special thing called as the primordial master is also within you. You can become your own guru. Your guru principle is to be awakened. If the Kundalini awakens your guru principle, you become the guru. You have to become your own guru. On the left side is the diffidence that you cannot be a guru. On the right side is the arrogance. And that's how sometimes we subject ourselves to others saying that you are my guru. And here we are arrogant. When we see a real guru, we deny. So these two sides are to be seen, and once you work it out, for example, this gentleman who was here has a left side. Is the diffidence in him. Please come in. Here, all right. May God bless. All right. So left side is the one that gives you that diffidence, and you subject yourself to other gurus. And you can see it on your left side, void. This is the void. You can feel it on the left side void, a burning sensation. And this is a sign that you have been to some guru who has been wrong, who has not a realized soul, who is a wrong type of man. Immediately you can make out from the person whether he has been to a right type of a guru or a bad type. If he has been to the right type, you get your realization just like that. You are just ready for it. He doesn't spoil your chakras, nothing. He doesn't give you false ideas, and you are just ready, but he has done very great work is to establish this part in yourself. That's why Moses, Abraham, all of them talked about alcoholism, about these things, because alcohol spoils the liver. Christ did not. He was born at that time, so he talked about the eyes. He talked about the realization. He talked about the gate, the door. And that's why he said you must get your resurrection. So the different aspects came at different time, And this aspect of the primordial master, which was Moses, we can say Abraham, and other people of the same type, they came to establish balance and dharma within us. Here they have not shown two other subsidiary chakras. One is the chakra of the sun, another is of the moon. This is the moon line and this is the sun line. Now this center they should have shown here, I think, which means that when you are on the sun line, you become right-handed. Right-handed means you are more projecting towards the future, you are thinking too much, or you are putting too much attention to your physical being and not to your spirit, not to your emotional sense. Now when you start getting to the asceticism and all sorts of nonsense like that, become an ascetic, give up this, give up that, and you give up actually your brains, nothing else. You become a thin person, you start moving like this and develop a horrible liver. See, this liver may extend up to this. Now liver is one of the very, very special organs we have got within ourselves. I mean, you would not know if you have a bad liver till you get to cirrhosis, where they will say that now, last time has come, you arrange for your funeral. That's what it is. Liver is like that. It goes on getting bad till you do not know. But in Sahaja Yoga, immediately you will know you have a liver problem. And you will also know how to cure it. And liver is responsible for our attention, which is so important. If your liver is not all right, your attention will be horrid. All the time you will be feeling sick, frustrated, embittered. You wouldn't like this, you wouldn't like that, sort of a person, always annoyed. And you will not know why I do like this. I don't want to do it, but why am I doing like that? So this is the one has to look after. But when you think too much, as I told you, this center of Swadhisthana, which is bestowed upon by Brahmadeva, who is the creator, works too hard. And it has no time to look after the other things like the liver, the pancreas, the spleen, the kidneys, and the uterus. So these things get completely neglected. And that's how the people who think too much always get diabetes. So in Sahaja Yoga, diabetes is curable. Hemiplegia and all those things and anemia and all these things are the cause of the same thing. Such people can become so very dry, very, very dry, because their left side goes absolutely out of order, is sleeping. They become emotionless. I have known people, they came to tell me, Mother, I have no emotions now, I have become a great saint, I have no emotions. Who has told you? I mean, a saint has such emotions, you can't imagine. It's such a feeling. I mean, if somebody says that he is a saint and he has no emotions, you throw him in the sea. He's good for nothing. A person who has no emotions is not a human being. He's worse than an animal. And if you see, I think the difference is only this, that if you feel pain, then you start weeping and becoming emotional. But a saint is the other way down. When he sees others in pain, then the compassion fills him completely. When he sees others in trouble, when he sees others drowning, then the compassion starts flowing from his eyes. And you can see the compassion from those eyes. Absolutely the same terrific eyes become so compassionate that you are surprised at how this love is flowing. And at the same time, he can take a hunter in his hand and hit people. At the same time, he can be very wrathful with people who try to destroy the saints. He can be extremely wrathful, and he can be very, 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 very dynamic. He can be anything, but he uses it for the purpose of one thing, is to save the saints and to make them the spirit. His only concern is how to make them the spirit, and for that, how to save them. For that, whatever it has to do. Sometimes it can act like a tigress, just jump on people who try to be injurious or try to be sort of harmful to the children of the tigress. Or it can become so mild, so mild. I don't know if you have seen a crocodile giving bath to her children. Her eyes become absolutely so mild. It's like that. That love you start seeing in a person who is a saint and who becomes a realized soul, that he feels for others, not for him. That I mean, you should never have sympathies for people who have heart trouble. Tell them to be more loving. Spend some time with your wife. Spend some time with your children. You see, mostly these busy people and those who are at the helm of affairs who think that the whole world will be drowned without them. Actually, with them it may be drowned. I don't know what that part. Such very busy people, you see, who have no time to waste in the family and who are holding the banner of some sort of a great thing so-called, they always get heart attacks and die. If they are not shot off, they get their own heart attacks and die. They can get even epilepsy, but it's not actually the epilepsy. It looks like epilepsy, but it is a kind of a failure of the part of the head which is on this side, the ego goes up. And a person can get paralyzed, or he may become absolutely without any sensation in his body. These people, till they die, they are very alert. Their brain is very alert, despite the fact they have used their brain. Actually, the nature is very balanced. They have used their brain. With their brain only, they have achieved whatever they wanted to, but their brain is alert, but their heart goes up, the balance comes. But if you have used your heart too much, the left side as it is, too much of crying and weeping and this and that and all that, you become, on the contrary, your heart going up, your brain goes up. The balance is established. It's surprising that people said that in the mental hospital, no use having a cardiogram. There's no need because you don't need it. Their heart is perfect. While they use their heart all the time, the brain goes up. And you become a brainless person or a gaga person and all sorts of things that we call it. So one has to understand that the balance is brought about by this position, and that's why Buddha has said, keep in the center. Do not go to extremes. When you go into extremes, this moves in the periphery. Supposing you are a thinker and you plan everything and you're meticulous and this and that, you are thrown on one side. Now the extreme phase of this would create a very egoistical supraconscious spirit in you. The one who we can cite was Mr. Hitler. Mr. Hitler was nothing else but a person who lived in the collective supraconscious, and he charmed people by his collective consciousness, collective supraconsciousness. What he did is to talk so big and so nonsensical things. If you read his lectures, you'll be amazed. That he said that we are the Germans, we are the special race, we are this, and we should kill all these people. And people believed it. It was just a position, a collective position. I mean, if you talk to those Germans, now I read some articles written by them, and really they can't understand. They said we were young people, we were studying, we were students, we were very good people, and suddenly all this came up to us, and he built us up as some sort of a martyr and all that, and we took to it. They made it such a big religious stuff, I mean a fanatic thing in their heads, that they accepted it. This is the extreme case of fanaticism. All the fanatics are on this side. All of them are on this side. Any fanatic who says, I am this, keep away from them. They are headaches, they are bores, numbering bores. You just can't talk to them. All the fanatics of the world, if they were bores, it's all right, but they go much beyond that. Like you see, Khomeini is there, is a good example of fanaticism. And I'm happy that Americans had a little experience of the fanaticism. All fanatics, Catholicism, the so-called Lutherans and the so-called Pentecostals, nothing but they are all possessed people, especially the Pentecostals are possessed. Can't you see them? They are recluses, they are useless people, they are wastelands. All the spiritualists and all these people, they could be right-sided or left-sided. LSD takes you to the right side because you start seeing the lights and all those hallucinations which are of the supraconscious. Left-sided people who are there, they get into, they are all the time crying, weeping, diffident, sly type, intriguers, they are on the left-hand side. But if you move too much on this side, then you can also get possessed. You can get very badly possessed. And this movement is very painful. It's painful to the person because they aggress on the person. But if you have this type of movement on the right hand side, then you aggress a person. Because this is done with the ego and this is done with the soul. So the person who has a left side problem is better in a society because he's troubled himself and he needs his own cure and he's not a problem. But a person who is the egoist is such a problem that he doesn't see, he doesn't feel the pain of others and he gives pain to others. He talks in such a way that he hurts and he has a very bad right vishuddhi, and everything he does, all aggressiveness, all war and all these things are a right side. And such a man can become very successful like Hitler, but ultimately he beats his doom and nobody respects such a person ultimately. See, everything afterwards the history tells about the dirty things he was doing, the sly things he was doing, or the bad things he was doing, how many he has killed, what he did, everything comes out in the history and he is just put into the light of history and you start seeing that this man who was supposed to be so successful, oh God, we do not want. One of the Sahaj Yogis who came to me, he told me, he's a French, he said, Mother, please tell me if I was Napoleon. If I was, don't tell me because then I will die. I said, why? He said, I feel that I'm very egoistical. After realization, I find my ego is like this and I toggle like that. And I can draw very well. And he needs to draw. So if I was Napoleon, don't tell me. If I was, don't tell me, I will really commit suicide. And in French people, if you call somebody a Napoleon, it's an abuse. You can imagine Napoleon the Great is being used as an abuse. So this is the thing that one has to understand, that ego-oriented person is over-disciplined, military life. He may not drink, smoke, you see. He may walk straight like a stick, but he's not. The other one might be indulging into all such things and he might be drinking too much and all the drunkards you find are on the left hand side. Fourth thing, they start with a small thing. When they started with a small thing, they are driven onto this extreme. Then they get caught up. Alcoholics are really not that they drink. There's some spirit in them that drinks. I met last time a lady from Cuba. She was a petite woman, small, thin woman. And her husband came and told me that she can take one whiskey bottle neat. I said, this little woman, how does she do it? He said, she does. And I asked her, and she said, yes, mother, I do. I put her a bandhan and I found a horrible big personality in her, horribly tall and very hefty. She said, Mother, did you see that one? I said, yes, I did. He said, it is he who brings an ambulance. She could see him. Such people who are on the left side can see the spirits and the things walking in and they get all kinds of